Hi, this is Nathan. Welcome to the Wad Fam Chalk Pod.
Oh, hi there. Welcome to the pod. I'm Dylan James Weaver, but most folks around here just call me Dylan. Why don't you get the whole family together and join us for another exciting episode of the Wad Fam Chalk Pod.
You know the story of my orange hair, right?
I do not know the story of your orange hair.
So when I was in elementary school, I used to get like PC blonde highlights put in my hair that I could blend in so I would look more dirty blonde. Because I already get natural ones too, so I just, my sister thought it'd be a cool idea and I liked it. And that was cool. And I did it like 2 or 3 times and it looked pretty good and it was fine. And then I went to name dropping here while she was still in beauty school and asked for the same thing. She dyed my hair orange.
Hello and welcome to the Wad Fam Chalk Pod. I'm Dylan Weaver.
I'm Andrew Sabo.
And we're back.
Hello, hiatus.
Yeah.
Returned.
We have returned for episode 483, Secrets.
Yeah, this is like the first standalone episode after the grand opening.
Yeah.
Dual.
It's sandwiched right in between Grand Opening, which is a 2-parter, and Plan B, which is a 4-parter.
Oof.
Yeah.
Is this the only 4-parter?
Plan B? Well, I mean, like, Green Ring's a 12-parter.
Yeah, technically.
Ties That Bind, I think, is a 12-parter as well.
Yeah. But I don't know if I'd count that. But as far as, like, a single, like, within an album.
It's a 4-parter.
Is there any others?
Not that I can think of.
I know there are 3-parters.
There's a lot of 3s.
Yeah.
Search for Wit is a 3. Kidsborough is a 3.
Yeah. Triangle. The Triangle's a 3.
Yeah.
That one might be 4, though. There's one...
No, it's Triangle. It's probably 3.
Yeah, okay, you're right. Yeah, that's right. That's what they do. I feel like there might be...
The Triangled Web.
Isn't there one with... There's one with Bernard... Maybe. I think it's Bernard. What's the one with Bernard and Eugene? Is that a 4-part?
Oh, their road trip one?
Yeah. Is that a...
Maybe.
I feel like there's no way that's 4 episodes.
I doubt it. Yeah. I don't know. And the other thing is, a lot of times there are, like, a string of heavily connected episodes, but they don't have parts.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because, like, all of Battle Lines could just be one 12-parter, but they decided to give them names.
Yeah, and have their own thing. Which, cool for them.
Yeah.
And maybe... I honestly don't know why they didn't do that. Just because they ended up doing it later.
Right.
But maybe it's, like... Probably has something to do with it coming out on radio and, like, radio programming as opposed to... That's probably more interesting.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they maybe, especially in the earlier years, tended to put more emphasis on making things stand on their own, as opposed to later where they can just, like, drop an album.
Roll promo.
All right.
On the next Adventures in Odyssey, there's an awful lot of whispering going on.
Well, you certainly have a lot of secrets, don't you?
And it seems like it's all coming to a head.
Well, sort of, I suppose, but not all secrets are bad.
Seems deceptive, doesn't it?
But having secrets does mean that you're hiding something.
Deceptive practice? Something to hide? Is this any way to start a relationship? What are all the secrets about? Find out on the next Adventures in Odyssey.
Oh boy. Yeah, oh my gosh, that promo. the really weird music. Yeah, I don't really know what to do with that. It's funny. So the episode's titled Secrets, and it's all about secrets, but I feel like there's only really one secret, but they make it sound like there's a ton. They say that word over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And they also say, so they say it in the promo, they also say it in the teaser of the episode. They just say it again.
Yeah.
But I actually thought, like, more than when they don't say it at all. Like, at least this teaser is somewhat related to what the episode is.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's necessarily better, but it's at least closer.
Fair.
I'd like to think it's better.
The teaser for this episode got me so genuinely excited for the episode.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and that's really hasn't really been the case in the past.
Yeah, I think we're also just getting to episodes that I care about, and like Connie and Mitch stuff's always good for me. Plus Novacom. Yeah, but yeah, it was a pretty satisfying teaser.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, and it does bait it pretty well, which is like, where has this been for the entirety of Adventures in Odyssey? It took you episode 400?
No. 483.
No.
No.
Is there a bucket on your head?
No.
No. That was good. I like that.
All right. So
I have a bit I want to ask you about real quick.
okay.
So the episode intros with Connie and Nick, Connie and Jay. Sorry.
What? Who's Jay?
I'm sorry, Nick. For some reason, I have him down as Jay in my notes. For some reason, Nick's name is Jay. All right. Where were we? Oh, so Connie and Nick, not Jay, are at the counter. My question is, they're talking about Mitch coming on Connie's radio show later, and it's because Bernard had an accident with a staple gun.
Yep.
Was there a thing with the actor that he couldn't get? Is that a part of the trivia?
There's nothing in the trivia about it. No, I think they just needed
an excuse to not have him in the episode.
Well, an excuse to have Mitch on the show.
Okay.
Because Mitch is on the show as a replacement for Bernard, who had, quote, an unfortunate accident with the staple gun.
Which also, it's a radio show. How would that keep him from talking? Is it
maybe he's
staple
just
his tongue? Is it a tongue situation?
If I had a staple through my hand, I wouldn't really want to go in to record a podcast.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know, man.
All right, Andrew.
There's only one way to find out.
I was going to say, we're going to staple you. Next episode, guys, we're going to staple Andrew, see if he still wants to do it.
100% more bored.
If not, we will find a replacement.
Nathan.
But I was also just kind of like, I get that Bernard's like handy and whatnot, but he's also a janitor. What was the, like, he washes windows.
It could have been about BTV.
Did he have a staple gun for BTV?
Oh.
Yeah, no, not why he was on the show. It's fine. Everyone in Odyssey's been on the show.
Yeah.
Freaking Cowlicks have been on the show.
True.
But why did he have a staple gun?
Green bugs. Little bugs, big bugs. I don't know why that's so funny to me.
Yeah, you find yourself too funny.
I just really enjoy Odyssey callbacks.
Yeah.
More than I should.
Well, it's because the number of people we can call back Odyssey with is so small.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Especially to the extent that we do, which is like not just baseline, like, oh, haha, that's so Eugene. It's like deep cuts.
Right.
Let's get closer. Deep cuts. Oh, God. I don't know what to do.
All right. Unfortunate accident with the staple gun. Then, Connie's asking where Mitch is because she's kind of trying to avoid him. And Nick says he's upstairs discussing with Whit. And Connie's like, I wanted to go talk to Whit. And Mitch is like, well, Mitch is up there. He's discussing like he's running a show past Whit that's going to be on Novacom.
Yeah.
Or whatever, which is a callback to the previous episode.
Yeah.
Where Mitch is trying to meet with Whit about that, and then Whit counters him about the cameras instead.
Yeah.
But I was like, that's
continuity.
That's
nice.
Really impressive continuity.
We can find it. Let's hold on to it.
But it also kind of reminded me how like last episode like didn't really end.
Yeah, it didn't.
And so this one almost seems like it could be a part 3, but I get why it's not because it's so Mitch and Connie focused.
Yeah, it's incredibly Mitch and Connie focused, and it really. So while it does play into the larger plot pretty well in like some pretty key ways, it doesn't do it enough to consider it a third part.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the last two were so plot movement, and this one's much more relationship. It's also, this is, I think, the smallest cast we've ever had in an episode. It is literally just Connie, Nick, Mitch, and Whit.
Yeah, and Whit's hardly in it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Whit's barely in it, which I think is really funny because he does the, hi, I'm John Avery Whitaker.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I guess, like, they seem to reserve those intros for, like, the adults.
Yeah.
And so, like, I guess that's why Connie didn't get it. But she absolutely should have had it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I think she has.
Yeah.
I think.
I
feel
think
like she has.
I'm pretty sure Eugene has. But I wasn't sure if Connie had.
She is a woman.
I was going to say, are there any women who have had them? Because I think that is also unlikely.
Good question. Has Joanne had one?
No.
I'm definitely not. Connie hasn't had one. And there aren't any other women.
Yeah, like they're all kids.
They're all kids.
Has Mayor Margaret Frey?
Yeah. Has Tom's wife? Has Bernard's wife? Okay, so Connie is with Nick in Wit's End, and Mitch is upstairs talking to Wit.
Yep.
And Connie's super uncomfortable and doesn't want to talk to Mitch because she wants to talk to Wit about Mitch?
Yeah.
About everything we found out last
Right.
episode. With all the secrets and everything.
Yep. Secrets? Because she literally, like, assumedly the last time Connie and Mitch interacted was when she stormed out of bowling.
Yeah.
And assumedly walked home? Which, I mean, it's Odyssey, it's small.
Yeah,
but...
and Wit walked to Tom's farm not that long ago, which again, presumably quite far or not. Maybe they just all have really nice shoes and they're really chill with walking a lot.
Yeah, maybe
That's
they've
probably why
got some
they're
white Vans.
Not good walking shoes. They have no support whatsoever.
So then, Nick's trying to, like, give Connie advice, and Connie keeps going in, like,
I don't want to talk
stereotypical, like, passive-aggressive woman is like, I don't want to talk about that, but, and then goes into it again.
And talks
it's
about it. You're like, oh, cool, wow.
It's like, wow.
Really
great.
original.
Solid writing there, guys.
Good job. You couldn't have
I
done
like
anything unique? Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah, but Nick knows how guys think.
Yes.
Because he is one.
Yeah, because he is.
As he will make
I
very
am.
clear.
I am one. Oh my gosh. Nick is, it's like the best part of this episode for sure. And it's hard because I don't know how seriously they write some of the things he says.
Yeah, we'll get to it, but boy is Nick problematic.
Yeah, oh my gosh, yeah. So basically, Mitch comes downstairs and goes to talk to Connie, and like, so they start talking.
Wait, and Nick's still hanging around.
Yes.
And then Connie boots Nick off.
And he says, I guess I'll go peel some bananas.
As Nick walks away, Connie and Mitch continue to talk, and Mitch is just the best.
Yeah, that's what I was like. God, Mitch is such a good boyfriend.
Like,
and Connie's
so
totally
understanding
and like only wants to like is not pulling away from Connie, even though Connie's spouting her crazy.
Yes.
And not necessarily and like, okay, Connie, I understand the thoughts that she has because I've had those thoughts before too, where it's like when you feel like you can't trust somebody, you wonder like, is this worth all that I'm putting into it and whatnot and things like that, and how much space you give those thoughts in your mind is like really the difference between dealing with them healthfully and not healthfully. So like, I respect her doing that, but she just explodes.
Yeah,
she gives them all of the space because, you know, she has ovaries. She can't help it.
Yeah. That is how biology works.
According to Adventures in Odyssey.
Yes.
We cannot have well-developed female characters.
No. Nope. Perfectly rational boyfriend Mitch and Connie, who is
a big old batch of crazy.
Yeah. And it's unfortunate too, because this is, as with most like Connie and Mitch episodes, this is written and directed by Kathy Buchanan.
Of course.
The only woman on their writer team, like, consistently.
Yeah.
And
it's rough. It's a shame that she's not better developed. But like, as like a note for this episode, like, I do think that this is not necessarily super unrealistic.
Yeah.
It's just a shame that we never see, like, we hardly ever credit Connie for anything else.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's not that this is like that I'm like, oh, everything she does in this is like stupid and super like misogynistic. It's just like this is so often all Connie does, and that's the unfortunate bit.
Well, yeah, and the thing is like they do such a good job with all their other main characters, as we've said before, with rounding them out, being like rational and irrational, and having people hold them in check. And Connie is always irrational, and when she is rational, nobody cares.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like,
going back to the fundraiser in our first episode.
Like, wow, that's a great idea. Shut up, Connie.
Yeah. Yep. So now, Mitch exits.
Yeah.
And Nick comes back in. He was standing around the corner, peeling bananas and listening to everything they said.
Of course. Which makes me wonder, what time of day is this taking place? My guess is in the morning, because she came in early to talk to Whit.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It's got to be, because there's no kids there. So it's got to be, again, during the school year, maybe?
No, it's definitely it's probably summer.
Yeah.
Shoot. Is that this episode?
Yeah,
it is this episode.
Unless they came in before it was open.
No, so yeah, this is probably summer because they're Mitch makes the comment when they're shopping for gloves about it being 80 degrees out.
Yeah, and they did have that barbecue for the grand opening, which is like very much a summer thing.
Yeah.
So there you go. All right.
Yep.
We're
even though it aired in January of 2002, it's a summer episode.
It's 80 degrees out, of course.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, this is okay. So Nick comes back in. They're talking with Connie. They find the picture, right? That's this?
No, so we realized that Mitch left his briefcase.
Yeah.
Almost immediately, and Nick and Connie's like, "Oh, I'll run out and grab him." And Nick picks up the briefcase, and it dumps everywhere, and because it wasn't closed properly, and Connie doesn't catch Mitch, and then they're trying to pack up the stuff, and they start snooping.
Yeah, and so they start snooping, and they find, what is it? How much antacid does this guy need?
Yep.
That's Nick's line, which, again, real funny.
And then oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
And then they find a script for a Novacom show called Casey's Shadow.
Yeah.
Which was a movie in 1973 that voice of Mitch, Steve Burns, was in.
Is that in the trivia?
That's from the AIO Wiki trivia.
I was gonna say.
Stop undercutting my knowledge, Andrew. I like to look smart, and then you're like, "Is that on the wiki?"
I was just wondering if that was something.
It's always on the wiki.
I was just wondering if that was something if you knew about.
No.
You're a smart guy when it
comes
to movies.
Well, sometimes I do stick a ton of research into stuff.
Yeah.
This was not something. This was just a fun Easter egg
that you found.
And then so they find this picture of a girl,
a redhead.
With an annoyingly cute smile.
As is clearly known later.
Yep. And Nick is...
very much infatuated.
Yep. Infatuated is a good word.
And Connie thinks she looks familiar.
Yep. And so Connie's going to try and find out from Mitch who this is. And Nick's like, well, when you figure that out, can you get her number for me?
It's like, oh, boy.
Yeah.
Nick.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Which is like, I know a Nick in real life.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, we all do.
That's a thing.
Also, he has the beautiful line of, women, can't live with them, can't get my laundry done without them.
Dynamite. And that's not his only very male-centered line.
Can't get my laundry. I get that he's this, like, he's supposed to be kind of a skater stoner bum, but
would like kind of New York, whatever. Like, I don't know that he's necessarily portrayed as a good guy.
No.
But he's not portrayed necessarily as a bad guy enough for me to excuse him saying,
yes.
Can't get my laundry done without him. I get no respect at all. Roger Dangerfield a just tie. What is the deal with women?
Because, like, I don't think they're written as jokes, but they're jokes from a certain mindset that makes it think that kind of thing is funny.
Well, and it'd be one thing if Adventures in Odyssey was blatantly progressive and it was like, yeah, okay, this makes sense.
So the example that jumped to my mind is Superstore, which is a sitcom I love.
Yeah.
Is like outright very, very liberal.
Yeah.
And they have a character named Marcus who makes that sort of joke all the time.
Yeah.
And everyone else just craps on him for it.
Yeah.
But then you have here where it's like,
it's a joke.
It's a joke that he's making, but no one in universe is calling him out for it. So you're just going under the assumption that the people listening realize it's a joke, but the people listening are a lot of times kids. And so I start to feel a little weird.
Well, and it's also funny because it's like, you can tell that it's a joke and that you're supposed to laugh at it. It's like, haha, he can't get his laundry done without them. But also, we're talking about women here, and like, that is, oh, yeah, it makes me feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm okay with those jokes. But you need to establish your progressive view of women a little bit stronger before you start pulling the "can't get my laundry done without him" card.
Yeah, and then we get even worse.
Oh yeah,
because Connie now asks, like, do you think the girl in the picture is like a second girlfriend?
Yeah,
or something like Mitch's other girlfriend, and. Because the return address is also Chicago, so we know she's Chicago.
Yeah.
And our good buddy Nick
calling it like it
says, Connie, with as much effort as you take, you wouldn't have time for anyone else.
He's not wrong.
I know he's not wrong, but that doesn't make him right.
No, yeah. That's one of those things where it's like, what are we promoting to children by allowing him to say this unchecked?
Yeah, you don't, like, that's
Funny
not...
guy Nick says something that will probably emotionally scar Connie. Women, am I right?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
It's uncomfortable. It's really just, it's real gross. But it's also, like, incredibly funny, and one of those things where, like, I totally didn't pick up on it as a kid. You know? Like, I totally didn't, whatever... think twice about it, but listening through it again, oh boy.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's there.
Oh yeah.
And that's kind of Nick's thing.
Yep. And then Connie starts to speculate that maybe, like, she sent Mitch the picture because she's still interested in him.
Okay.
And, which Nick's like, I don't usually send pictures to people I don't like.
Yeah.
Which, like... fair, but also you send pictures to.
And also, like, I'm in my head, this is not a small photograph. This is
this
is like a full sheet of printer paper kind of photograph.
I wouldn't go quite that size, but I'm thinking it's not wallet size. It's like,
maybe like one of those like printouts you get at CVS.
Yeah,
like
that's
standard whatever. It's like 4x6.
Everyone here is old enough to know what a CVS is, right?
Please. I need you to understand this.
There used to be these things called pictures.
Yeah, and you could hold them, but they weren't Polaroids and they weren't ironic. Oh no. Yeah, and you couldn't put filters on them. I mean, you could, kinda, but not really.
Yeah. But yeah, now at this point, Connie is just going down this, like, obsessive, like, thought spiral.
Yeah.
Thinking about, well, like, if she set him to it, she's probably still into him, but maybe he's not. Like, who wouldn't be into Mitch? And then she just starts running off all these things that are great about Mitch.
Yeah.
I'm going to hit a couple of them. I don't know if you have any of these written down.
Yeah.
They're all over the place, but
yeah.
I think the first one she mentioned, or one of the first, I didn't write them all down because I don't care that much, but he surprised her with a candlelight picnic in McAllister Park.
Yes.
Showing that Mitch only has one move.
Yeah.
True. It's a very good move,
surprise
but
picnics.
It's always surprise picnics.
At least at this point, that's all we know.
Yeah. And then,
I'm curious to see what you have note, because I have some as well.
She says, he started a Bible study.
Yep, I have that one.
Kids love him.
They do.
At which point, Nick interjects with the best sentence he's ever said. sounds like my golden retriever, except Jake is an atheist.
I missed that! What? In case you're wondering, this is having me laughing into my hands. Oh no! He's an atheist. He's going, oh no.
Nick's golden retriever, Jake,
is an atheist. Well, okay, do you have that he drinks purified water?
Yeah, I
have
do.
That one.
But I'm confused as to why Nick threw that in there, because he started Bible study, kids love him, then Nick's like, oh, he sounds like my golden retriever, except he's an atheist.
Kids love
him. So he was only latching on to the kids love him part?
Kinda.
This works for one part of the two-part thing I set up.
Yeah, this is just like, oh, what?
Yeah. Also, his dog is an atheist. Why?
How does he know? Does he like? Did he try
it's
to?
a really good punchline, and it honestly doesn't seem like the kind of joke that Focus on the Family would make.
I mean, it was written by a woman. Let's not forget
that's
it.
Why.
Oh no. Oh
But yeah.
no.
As Andrew mentioned, he drinks purified water.
Which I can't tell if that's a good thing or a bad thing, or like what Connie's association with that. Because I was thinking, like, does Connie only drink purified water, and this is why, or like, does she like it because she thinks that tap water is gross, or like
I don't know.
What's the importance of purified water?
Yeah, I couldn't figure out what the point was either.
And then his feet never smell, except for sometimes they do,
Right.
which is like, oh, that's cute. But
yes,
also,
that is
wow.
cute. He can beat anyone at Scrabble.
Yeah.
But the man cannot spell aardvark.
True. It's very important to know that. So, I'm guessing they play the version of Scrabble where they don't have the dictionary on hand.
It's like
Yeah.
we established last episode that he
Can't spell,
aardvark wrong.
but he's real good at Scrabble.
But he can beat anyone at
Yeah.
Scrabble. He can beat Mr. Scrabble himself at Scrabble.
Yeah.
Scrabble's got to be named after a man, right?
I think it is. Mr. Scrabble. The Monopoly Man. The Scrabble Man.
The Scrabble man.
Jay's afraid of chickens.
His name is Nick.
We need to start over. He's in my notes as Jay. Why is he in my notes as Jay? Nick is afraid of chickens, and it affects dozens of Americans, as is established by this episode.
It's called electrophobia, and dozens of Americans suffer from it.
Which is so funny. It is so funny. And it's like Connie's just being ridiculous and Nick is being ridiculous, kind of. And I just enjoyed this episode a lot for that reason.
Yeah. Oh, man. We missed something earlier. In the same scene, but it's when Connie's like starts listing off all these things that are great about Mitch. She says, "Who wouldn't want to date Mitch?" And Nick goes, "Well, I wouldn't." And Connie's like, "What girl wouldn't?" And I was just like, "Yeah, focus on the family, setting things straight."
Thank goodness. Jay ain't gay.
His name is Nick.
You have no clue how many times I've wanted to say Jay and said Nick in my head. or other way around. Nick. Nick. The guy from New York is Nick.
Okay, so now
they go glove shopping, right?
Well, Connie starts fixating on the fact that there's a hand in the picture.
Yeah. Yes, there's a hand.
And Nick's like, "Oh, if you figure out who that hand is, like maybe you'll get answers to some of your questions." Cut to glove shopping at the mall.
With Connie. And she's like, doesn't she go, "I think it's time for me to do some detective work of my own."
Yeah, but she specifically says, like, "I think we're going to have to get hands-on with it."
Yeah. Hands-on detective work, which of course. Of course. Yeah, and so they go to the mall, and they want to go glove shopping, and Mitch is like, "But it's 80 degrees out." And she's like, "Perfect, clearance sales." And I'm like, "Oh, you're insane.
Yeah.
Oh, you're really bad at this." And then she's like, "Well, why don't we go watch shopping?"
Wait, before she even says that, she says to him, like, "Oh, get some really nice gloves for the radio show?
Yeah.
Or, like, for my show?" And Mitch goes, Connie, it's a radio show? And she's like, oh yeah. And I was like, Connie.
Also, even if it was
Connie.
a television show, why would you be wearing gloves? It's like, I'm about to go on the Ellen show. Let me get my nice gloves on, my going out gloves, and just slip them on.
Yeah, I don't understand how Mitch is so... Because she starts rattling off a bunch of things that are all hand-centric, and I'm like, how is Mitch not... Mitch seems to just be like, oh, Connie, she's so weird and quirky, and not be like, why is Connie suddenly obsessed with my hands? Additionally, she throws out watch shopping. Mm-hmm. She says, you could go get a manicure. And Mitch says, over my dead body, Connie.
Yeah, which, again, I mean, I feel like I'd be okay with getting a manicure if somebody was paying for it. Like, I'm not going to invest my own money in it, but, like, you want to take me to go get a manicure?
Yeah.
Sure, I'm down. I have nothing against it.
Yeah, it's very that... I don't know. It's the thing that, like, of course Odyssey leans heavy into, like, super stringent, like, gender roles.
Yeah, of course they do.
And I'm like, I don't know
And in
how.
this situation, it's not
Right. I don't think it's, like, problematic.
Or
It's
to the
just,
detriment
like,
of his character.
Yes. Yeah. I think. And he delivers it in a really funny way, too.
Yeah. Over my dead body,
Connie.
And then, so don't they go out to eat, and then she starts talking about Justine? Or that we don't know necessarily.
Right.
She asks about ex-girlfriends, and Nick's like, or Mitch is like, why are we talking about this or something like that? Or like, why ex-girlfriends? She's like, oh, we've talked politics and sports
and
weather, so it's time to talk about ex-girlfriends.
And I was like, man, I would love to be a fly on the wall with Connie and Mitch talking politics.
Yeah, I'm thinking,
or sports.
Which is like, again, proven later in this episode that at least with tennis, she ain't great.
Yeah, but in the meantime, they have talked about weather, sports, and politics. You know, the three conversations you have.
And also, wow, why sports? Like, because Mitch isn't sporty, really. He
plays tennis and
but
skis.
Only because of Justine, and rides horses and skis.
And bowls. He has his own bowling shoes.
Yeah, but like...
None of those are conventional sports.
Yeah, and things that would change recently, actively enough to be worth talking about. Because unless you're actually following, like, maybe the Olympics, which, again, summer, can't be Winter Olympics.
Right.
Or...
Yeah, they could be talking about Summer Olympics.
But there's no skiing in the Summer Olympics.
There's tennis.
Fair enough. Alright, it works.
Yeah.
So Mitch is talking to Justine, and kind of goes off on this, like, little tangent, like, that's kind of weird.
Yeah, he does get... Connie asks him about it, and he's initially resistant, and she pushes harder, and he starts listing out off all these qualities he likes about her.
Yeah.
Which is... Yeah, it's not his smartest move.
For sure. Well, and also the tone that he used it, like...
Yeah.
Like...
He's thinking back very, like, fondly of these memories.
Yeah, with, like, rose-colored glasses, which is totally something that happens, but also something where it's like... read between the lines, maybe now's not the time.
Yeah.
When there's doubt, let's not talk about exes. That's a bad idea.
Yeah. And then he throws out, like, hey, we should, like, pack a lunch and head to the lake. So Mitch only has one move, guys. Yeah. Like, it's literally just food and outdoors, and that's it. I mean, he did do bowling.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't know. I feel like there are other date options than picnics.
Yeah. Well, and, like, picnics inside, picnics outside, picnics in mountains, picnics in fields. You can mix it up. He hasn't mixed it up.
Hey, night at McAllister Park is a mix-up.
True.
And there were candles. Also, are most parks not dawn to dusk?
I think that they are. I feel like they have to be.
Yeah, but, you know.
Yeah.
They just did a late night. Also, if it's over the summer, in order for it to be dark enough to be candlelit, it's got to be like 9, 10 o'clock.
Oh, yeah. They smooching. You gotta know that. They smooching. Which, again, incredibly difficult logistically, because you've got candles, you're on a blanket. Any movement can knock that over, and then you're just on a pile of flame. So it's just,
Yep, that's true.
if it works.
Andrew knows from personal experience.
I've caught on fire many times from that. I was like, yo, let's head down to Linear Park and I'll set up some Yankee candles and will in no way light myself on fire.
Andrew also only has one move.
Yeah, it's not that though.
Then Connie's kind of like, oh, what did you used to do with Justine?
And then they talk about going, because they used to play tennis together.
Yep.
And they used to play once a week, and she was really good. And so Connie's like, oh, I play tennis. We should play tennis.
Yep.
So they play tennis.
Yeah, well, actually, so we cut to before tennis. We cut back to Waits End, where Connie walks in with purple hair.
Yes. Raspberry chestnut.
Yep.
And Connie was like, it's raspberry chestnut. That should work.
Yep.
Nope.
Not at all. And, yeah.
And she's in a tennis outfit.
She's so insecure, though, and
Yeah.
it makes me sad.
Yeah. Well, because she's clearly doing it to prove to make Nick happy. Mitch happy.
Yeah, but I don't know. When has that, you were already,
It's a good sign of a healthy relationship if you don't feel loved, if you don't change for them.
yeah, they were in a decent place. Then she started getting paranoid about secrets.
Yeah.
But while she's still paranoid about secrets and trying to draw close to him, she's also like, let me completely change myself for this guy who I'm still not convinced is good for me.
Yeah.
It just doesn't ring true.
I mean, I've seen people do that. It does happen. It's not good. And this is when I'm
just
like...
a bummer.
And this is where I'm like... This is when you have Connie be rounded out. She wants to do this. She brings it up casually to Whit. And Whit's like, don't do that.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Any Connie motivation, though, that comes from her bouncing things off father figure Whit is, not my favorite either.
Well, yeah, but I'd rather have her
seek out advice than...
and show maturity in that than just be gone with the wind blowing back and forth, doing anything and everything and saying anything and everything and glove shopping in July or whatever.
Yeah.
You're
right.
It doesn't really ground her character at all. And while it might be worse, or it might be not perfect for her to ask somebody like Whit, it might ground her a little bit more. It might make her seem a little bit more human, a little less animated.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. Whit walks down and is just like, whoa, that's kind of crazy. And Connie's like, what do you think? He's like, it certainly catches your attention.
Yeah.
To which Nick says,
Ronald McDonald catches one's attention too.
Yep.
So good.
It is. It's another one of those, sort of universe-breaking things.
Yeah.
But, I'm much more willing to accept Ronald McDonald than Krispy Kreme.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. McDonald's is bigger than the world.
And they're referencing a character in they're not being like...
Krispy Kreme donuts.
Right. Not being like, hey, that restaurant. They're being like, hey, that's pop culture icon.
When she says he makes pancakes better than Hal's Diner, it could have been better than the Waffle House or something like that. You're like...
That would have been weird.
Yeah, you're
but
what
here...
an odd name drop.
Yeah, also, who goes to the Waffle House?
Not for pancakes, that's for sure.
Absolutely not. Then Whit asks about the tennis outfit, if this is part of her new look too, and she's like, I'm going to play tennis. And then Nick's like, oh, is this all about that girl in the picture? And Whit's kind of like, what girl in the picture? Like, hey, Connie, you're maybe dial it back a little bit. Cut to tennis.
Yeah, and so they play tennis, and Connie goes to help, or I'm sorry, Mitch goes to help Connie, and then Connie ends up hitting him, which this has never happened to me, but I feel like it would, which is why it's it feels kind of tropey, but I could totally see that happening to me.
Yeah.
Or I mean, that's happened with me. I played kickball with my neighbors. They were 4 or 5, and I just drilled him in the face. And oh, oops. I know what I'm doing, and I still messed this up.
Yeah.
So that's kind of endearing to me.
Yeah.
But then they sit down, they go back. What's it?
Sorry, on the tennis thing though, the one line that always cracks me up with Mitch is when she's like, "Is that how you always hold the tennis racket?" And she's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Well, it looks like you're scared of it."
Yeah. Yeah. No, isn't it?
He says that, then he does say something else too.
And there's something like, "Isn't this how all the tennis players do
Yeah.
it?" And she's like, "Only the ones that are fearing for their lives."
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
oh, Mitch, you're perfect, aren't you?
It's funny. All the sound engineering is great here. We can hear
yeah.
her hitting the ball into the net rattling,
The sound
and then
is fantastic.
and then getting hit in the face with the racket.
And then the dialogue after that is fantastic because you can like hear the bag crinkling on his face while he's talking. And so he gets hit in the face. They go back to his apartment.
Yeah, he doesn't have, because Connie asks him if he has any frozen vegetables.
Yeah.
And he says, not unless it was here when I moved in, which, like, again, with some
Not
stereotypes,
having a
it's just like, oh, of course, bachelor pad, no vegetables. But I do kind of like it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and it's also like, I could see myself not buying frozen vegetables. If I want vegetables, I'll buy them fresh. But, you know, whatever. So they actually have, like, a pretty good discussion, though. Like, they kind of come to terms a little bit. And, like, and this is probably more so where it's like, I really appreciate their episode, or their relationship dynamic more so because, like, it does kind of show the full spectrum of it. And, like, actually having open, safe lines of communication does bring resolution.
Yeah.
And in a lot of ways, Odyssey doesn't really stick to reality, and in this way they kind of have. So, like, you know, hats off to them for that. So what's left in the episode?
Mitch is just kind of like, hey, what prompted this? And kind of is like, oh, well, I saw a picture of her. And he's like, oh, the one on the fridge. Mm-hmm. And there's like a picture on the fridge.
Yeah, of her and his friends.
Yeah, of their group of friends. And it's not Justine. It's not the girl in the briefcase. And Connie's like, that's not Justine. Which is such a...
Yeah, that's not Justine. And then, like, her smile's not annoying at all.
Yeah, which is such a like tropey trope again.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, no, Connie, like, if he tells you who it is and you've never met the person, like, he's right.
Yeah, you're wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, but...
Yeah,
but
and it's also just like... Yeah. And maybe they kind of had to do it because it had to be expositional in that sense.
Yeah.
Because it's like... If you're in that sense, like, picture,
you do have to explain to the audience. Also, Mitch does say during this that he says, you're my favorite person in the world to be with.
Which is adorable.
It is really adorable. It's also very forward.
Yeah.
But, like, I guess they've hit that point in their relationship.
Yeah. Yeah. And, like, when you have that feeling, you kind of know you have that feeling.
Yeah.
And especially when you're ready to drop the L-bomb, you kind of have that feeling where it's just like, given the choice of seeing you or anybody else, I'm probably going to pick you most of the time.
Yeah. So we get back and to the wit's end. Connie's recapping with Nick the events and how it's not the girl in the briefcase wasn't Justine.
Yeah.
And then Nick's kind of like, who else could it be? And Nick's like, well, it kind of looks like this girl I knew from New York. She's always talking on the phone. Connie's like, that's it. And he's like, no, it's not. And she's like, no, the phone.
Yeah.
Nick also says, like, that girl ended up in prison or something.
Yeah, no, she ended up in the slammer.
That's right, he says the slammer.
Because he's from New York, guys. And also she said, Nick says, I could always hear her talking on the phone all the time. Boy, she could talk, or something like that. I'm like, all right, Nick, we're really playing this trope hard, aren't we? Good to know. Oh my gosh, it's really funny.
And then Connie realizes it's the girl who planted the modem in Whit's office,
which is huge.
Yeah, she tells Whit this. Mm-hmm. Then we go into candid conversations with Mitch.
Yep, and Connie.
Oh boy. And I was just like, my note just says, another horrifying candid conversations is about to occur.
Yeah.
Because the one we heard earlier, also about secrets.
Yeah.
I was like, man, is Wick going to come in and yank her off the air again? Like, Oh boy, is this gonna be a
It
mess.
escalated too quickly. She wasn't able to.
Yeah.
They basically go in and they have this like cloaked dialogue about secrets, and then
Yep.
she's like, I don't know if I can trust
Yeah,
you.
yeah. And she also is like, Mr. Mitchell, and he's like, you can call me Mitch. She's like, Mr. Mitchell. All right, Miss Kendall.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's playful and
Yeah.
cute, and yeah.
Well, and it's also like, it's playful from Mitch's standpoint, but it's also like very standoffish
Yes,
from Connie's
it is very
standpoint.
standoffish from Connie's, but
which is
Connie's. But I like that Mitch is like playing along with it.
because he's a good guy. And he's so good.
Yes.
He's so good. And Connie,
Yeah.
you're a sweet soul, and I know that there's more to your soul than focus on the family.
Right.
Let's
I was
see.
gonna say. I feel like Mitch is always great, and Connie is great, but written poorly.
Yeah, and she's only written poorly. Like, Connie's endearing in that she's very much her own person, and she's very much quirky, and like those quirks either mesh or they don't mesh.
Right.
And apparently they mesh with Mitch.
Yeah. And so then they're doing this back and forth about not trusting you, this, that, and the other thing, and Mitch. Do you want to say it? Do you want to say his quote, Andrew?
Don't mesh with Mitch before you're married. That's what I was gonna say.
That's not what I wanted you to say.
Anywho, continue.
So Connie's like, I don't know if I can trust you. Mitch is like, I think you should. And Connie's like, why? And he says, because I think I'm falling in love with you, Connie. And that's the episode.
Yep. Yeah, and then she's like, oh, I think we gotta go to break now. Goodbye.
I love that she cuts
That
herself
is so
off.
bad.
It's...
It is so good. It's because she says goodbye to. She's like, "Oh, well, I think that's all the time we have for today. Goodbye."
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it cuts to Chris being like, "Oh boy."
Yeah. It's just another like plot wrap up where it's just kind of like, what's gonna happen next? And
Which is good.
That's
It's good. And then it cuts to, obviously the end.
Yeah. That's
outro.
it.
Wait a minute. So the discussion questions say, what do you think about Nick's advice?
Yeah.
What is Nick's advice? What advice? To search for the lady with the hand? What does Nick do to provide? Nick's advice is...
Yeah. What do you think about Nick's advice? It's just bad. Like, all of his advice is
doesn't
always
say
like,
anything valuable.
We should start answering the discussion questions.
I like that. Well,
Do you think that it's wise to keep secrets?
Sometimes.
What do you think about Nick's advice? Always bad. Do you think Connie should have tried to be like you, Justine, or should have she just been herself? Obviously the latter.
Just be yourself. But what was Nick's advice?
I don't know, but it was bad.
Yeah, I'm trying to think like what they could have construed as his advice. What did he say? He didn't say anything, really. He wasn't like, nope, Connie, you should do this. Yeah, no. He doesn't really provide any advice.
Nope.
All right, do you have any closing thoughts for the episode?
Not really.
Overall?
That was... Yeah. I think, in general, I liked it.
Me too.
I think I had issues with a lot of the details, but in broad strokes, it was a decent way to kind of continue to propel Mitch and Connie's relationship forward. Mm-hmm. And try and deal with some of the stuff that they've been setting up in the episodes previous. I do feel a little bit like going into this episode, like Connie and Mitch pseudo broke up because she was mad about him about all these secrets.
Yeah.
Then in this episode, they discover another secret. That secret does not get resolved.
Well, wait, what secret are you talking about?
So they discover the picture.
Yeah.
That secret then, like, Connie thinks it's one thing, it's a different thing. Like, in a lot of ways, this episode just kind of spins the wheels on the meta plot because Mitch, like, none of Connie's relational issues were resolved at all in the episode.
Other than maybe, like,
feeling accepted by Mitch,
and
I think is maybe it. But a lot of her concerns haven't been resolved.
Yeah, she doesn't have any more information other than the fact that she knows that he loves him now.
Right.
Or he loves her.
Yeah.
And that might not be enough. Although I think it's... Yeah, there's not a whole lot that's resolved. but like I understand like how that kind of happens, where it's like it's not necessarily like out of the blue for kind of a whole lot to happen, and then just things just kind of spiral. The thing that I like the most about this episode for sure is just like, and it does what a lot of episodes don't do, but later in the series it does, is it ties into the meta plot well while being very good standalone, providing key information, developing key plots. Like Mitch and Connie needed this episode because last we heard was last episode and like things were building, but other than that, it was green eyes and yellow tulips and like falling, and so we're starting to see this progression.
Yep.
But while everything else is happening around them, it's important to keep up with them specifically because they are both hyper involved with everything.
Right.
So, like what it says, I'm not a huge fan of. How it portrays Connie, not a huge fan of. But what's new?
Yeah.
Mitch is fantastic. We already knew that.
Mitch is fantastic.
Yeah, I'm excited for the next episode because the next episode is starting the 4-parter.
Yep.
And
so our next month will be spent covering Plan B.
Yeah. What is it? Resistance, and there's a bunch of them. There's 4 names.
Yeah. Plan B is the meta thing.
Do you have anything to plug?
I don't at this point, no.
Okay. You got something in the works?
I've got a handful of things in the works always, but
fair enough.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
You got your
so I have the episode 2 of My Scrub soundtrack is up. Hopefully, if I'm good, expect to see an episode on Fridays. I won't publish them on any days that aren't Fridays, except for I did with Hallelujah. Bad on me, smack me on the wrist. I'm not going to do that anymore. It's only on Fridays. So look forward to that. Whenever this comes out, take a peek at the backlog. They're really fun to make.
All right.
That's all.
Sounds good. And yeah, we'll continue to keep you guys in the loop. I guess Nathan tells you in the outro where to find us. So until next time, have a good one.
Bye.
WadFam Chalk Pod is a presentation of the Lidditz Podcast Cooperative. This show is a fan podcast and has no official affiliation with Adventures in Odyssey or Focus on the Family. As such, the copyright is ours under Creative Commons. Follow the podcast at WadFamChalkPod on Twitter and Instagram, or email us at wadfamchalkpod@gmail.com. Episode 12, Secrets, was hosted by Dylan Weaver and Andrew Sabo, and edited by Dylan Weaver. And I'm Nathan Haverstick, hoping you'll join us next time for more of the WadFam Chalk Pod.